Friends, welcome back to our Mindworx Zoom. We're trying to bring this to you every Wednesday, especially during these, interesting times, we'll say that, of this pandemic. We focus on the three principles and how it can change your world, the world that you're living in, simply by the power of your thinking. We began teaching a class, and we have tried to let it grow and invite as many people as we can. One of our guests today was somebody who took our class a few years ago, a colleague of mine, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me today.
And as you all know, we are welcoming in, of course, Mitch and Melissa. Melissa, how are you both today?
Feeling great today. Excited to have Nikki with us. She's a colleague of all of us, Ben, not just you. So
that is correct. Yep.
I'm feeling great. This is the first time I've sat down today, and I have the windows open and the kids are playing outside, and I'm feeling relaxed right now. So thank you.
Well, and what's interesting is people that might be zooming in might be thinking that it's still winter in Iowa. Nikki, it appears that you have a Christmas tree behind you.
I do. And I do apologize for my dog barking, but my dog does give me happiness, so it is what it is. I chose back in January to leave my tree up because I can. And it brings me joy, and it's a lot of work to put up and take down, and that caused me tons and tons of stress. And now when I walk by it every night to go to bed, it's on. We light it now that the pandemic has happened, and it gives me joy, and I love it. And it's a piece of conversation actually for people that pass by our house too. So.
You know, it's funny you say that. We talk in the class about belief systems and how we end up believing certain things and why we do. The idea that you should take your Christmas tree down, who came up with that, right? So if you want to leave it up, leave it up. That's the 3P right there. Nikki, tell us how the three principles has impacted your time during this period in our lives.
All right, as Ben said, I have taken both classes, and I was intrigued to take the first class because of Ben and being a neighbor of his at school. And life is full of stress, and as a working mom and a wife and a daughter and a sister and a friend and all that good stuff. So took both classes, was super excited when you guys offered the second class. And I have tried to share it with people, and I do try to live it. Some days are easier than others, especially during this time right now. I wake up, honestly, I wake up every morning and I'm not stressed. I'm not. And I don't mean to sound heartless because of course I'm worried. I'm worried for our nation and everybody, my immediate family and extended family and friends. But I am choosing to focus on today because that's all I have control over. And that has helped me to get through this, as I now try to be kind of the rock, per se, of our family, because my husband is still working 7 days a week, sun up to sundown. He's extremely stressed. He's been the rock of our family, and he honestly asked me to now take a turn. And that freaked me out a little bit because he's the stable one. I was not. And so I have decided to take the kind of bull by the reins, so to speak. And that's my job now. And I want to do that to the best of my ability. I do want to share a little saying that I do have up in my bathroom that I try to live by every day, and I've shared this with my students as well as my own family. Life goes by in the blink of an eye. It's too short to live upset, angry, resentful, or ungrateful. If you look for the good, you'll find it. Choose to be happy, to be at peace. Decide that each day is going to be a great day, and grab each moment and make the best of it. Refuse to let negative thoughts take root in your mind, and refuse to let negative people and situations drag you down. Trust your journey and know that if you make a mistake, it's okay. See it as a lesson learned and keep moving forward. Spend less time worrying and more time being grateful for those who love you and all of life's lessons and life's goodness. Choose to live in joy. And that has saved me so many times in my personal life, but in my work life. And I found myself yesterday going back to some old habits, and I could physically feel it in my mind, in my chest, in my body, and I did not like where I was. And it took me a while to let it go and decompress and think about it. And I talked to some people about some things, and I'm in a better place today. And I forgive myself for having those thoughts yesterday. And, you know, today's a new day. I can't go back to yesterday, and I have no idea what's going to happen. Let's say even tomorrow, let alone Monday. And that's what I'm trying to also focus on with my students during this whole time. Like, let's just focus on today. And if you don't do math today, I'm okay with that. Because for me as a teacher, I'm a mom first, and then I'm a teacher. I need my kids to be okay. So those kids are somebody else's, my students are somebody else's kids, right? They need to be okay. And so for me, their emotional and mental well-being is the most important thing. The math will come.
What I love about that quote of choosing joy, right, is it sounds so easy. You know, you're in a dark place. Let's just be joyful. But sometimes when things are so difficult, it's hard to find that joy. And the cool thing about understanding the three principles is that you understand that it's a practice, and that when you're in a negative space, that negative space that originates with negative thinking. And if you can change the negative thought into a positive thought, then all of a sudden you're in a more positive place. And it's, you know, Mitch, when we teach the class, we use the word all the time, neuroplasticity. And it's about the wiring of your brain. And sometimes without knowing it, we are geared to think negatively. And we know that there are people all around us that are negative, and they give off that negative energy. It is a practice of rewiring the brain. And the more you practice choosing joy and thinking positive thoughts, you're going to be more positive. So it's interesting, like, you know, you had this meeting yesterday, you could still be in that meeting today. Even though you're out enjoying things today, you could be in a place where in your head, you're thinking about that meeting and you're not focusing on how beautiful it is outside right now.
Or the company she's with right now, really. I mean,
yeah, really, that's the most important.
I can tell you how much I have looked forward to this all day. The three of you.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, one of the things that we, you know, one of the whole purposes of having you come on too is just to give that perspective, because, you know, sure, Ben, Melissa, and I, obviously we believe in the three principles. We're teaching it, that kind of thing. But like for you as a teacher, when you first took that class, how could you describe yourself when you walked in versus maybe when you walked out, or what was some of the things that you took away the most? Because I've heard you say some things already today, like you can't worry about the future, you can't change the past. Like those are some key components that we've talked about. But is that what helps you find the joy? Because sure. Yeah, because as humans, we're every single day you're going to be tested, and this is why this is a practice. You have to remind yourself that I have the ability to go a different direction with this. So can you talk?
And you know, it's part of, you know, the consciousness. I have to make sometimes a conscious effort to choose joy, to choose positivity, but I know how important it is. And I share this with my students every day. You know, they will never know if I don't feel good, or if I have a headache, or if something really bad happened at home, because when I come to school and when I enter my classroom, I choose to be positive, I choose to find joy, and I choose to be kind, because that's what they deserve, and that's what's expected of me as a teacher, and that's the kind of teacher I want to be. It's not their issue, it's not their problem that I don't feel good, or I have a headache, or I had a fight with my husband or my child, you know. So when I first took your class, and I can't even tell you, it's been a long time, I wasn't sure, like, okay, right, how is this going to happen? You know, I've had all these bad things, you know, poor me, all these bad things have happened. And it was a huge awakening, just to stop and be present and think. And I think that's part of, this whole with COVID-19 too, is I see people being present and stopping to just appreciate the little things, the simple things. And we need to somehow get back to that, because I'm fine. I mean, I'm guilty of it, but I'm in such a better place right now mentally, because my stress level is down, and I'm still working. It's not like I don't have stress from work, and I'm still a mom, and I'm still worrying, but I'm choosing to focus on just today, because that's all I have control over.
We've talked about this pandemic is just an automatic slow you down. I mean, what else are you going to do? So, and that's the beauty of what we try to do in the course, is to slow people down in their own thinking. And I think you're right. What I've seen of people is a new appreciation of just spending time with somebody a new appreciation of just the simple things that are now just like can fill your cup up tremendously.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And things don't need to be bought. You don't need to, it's just time and just people being genuine and people being good, I think.
I think when you talk about our jobs, right? We're all in education, and it's not all a bed of roses. There are some tough times. There are some tough days. For me and for all of us, the best part about our jobs is working with kids. And right now, we're not doing that as much. For me, the most difficult part of my job, are meetings, right? Lots and lots of meetings. And, there are people that are working at home too that are dealing with the meetings. And like when you go into it and you're thinking about it in a negative light, it's so important to find the silver linings. Even in a meeting that you don't want to go to at 7:30 in the morning, what are the positives? What are the positives that you can take? And what are the positives you can walk away from? And I'll be honest with you, I had a challenging meeting last week. And I walked away from that meeting and I was still in that meeting. I was still in that meeting 3 or 4 days later, 5 and 6 days later, but I would capture the thought. I didn't let it spiral. And so, there were some difficult exchanges. And when I walked away from that meeting, it was important for me to understand the power of the 3 principles that I knew the negative thought was going to come, right? That's just natural. But I also knew that I had the power to be aware, like you said, Nikki, to be aware, that conscious piece of the 3 principles, be aware of where I was going with that negative thought and say, I don't want to go there. I want to enjoy the day. I don't want to be back sitting in that meeting, from 3 days ago. And I think that when we talk about the 3 principles, that's kind of the understanding that we have. We don't have to live in that negative space. And bad things are going to happen, right? This pandemic, there's a lot of negative things happening. But again, even in this very dark situation, so many silver linings that we have all been seeing over the course of the last month.
For sure. Absolutely. And I found a quote too. I don't know. I mean, I'm really into quotes. I always have been. I would always put a quote up on my board every day for the kids. It said something about, like, for teachers and parents, the most important thing right now is to be present and not perfect. Mm-hmm. And, I'm grateful that my children are older. And Melissa, hats off to you, because I can't imagine doing what you're doing. Thank God that you are. But we have to, I think, allow ourselves, we're human. I mean, our kids are human. And, even though my kids are grown, I still have worries. I mean, I have a college freshman who is doing online classes. He's not an online learner. He's stressed. He's stressed. I'm stressed. My older son lives in Oklahoma. I wish he was here in Iowa. He's still working. Is he being safe? Is he wearing a mask? My mom is 75 and she lives alone, and I want her to come live with me, and she's not. And, my son's girlfriend, who is like family to us, she's from Spain. She can't get home. She's here. She came and lived with us for 2 weeks, and she's back in Oklahoma with my son, but she wants to be with her family. And we are all, I believe, doing the best we can. And no one should be perfect. And, parents, they can't replicate a classroom at home. Us teachers, most of us haven't had distance learning training. So we're doing the best we can. I've had some conversations with some non-educators, and, I can't believe teacher. I'm like, whoa. And I'm going to use a phrase that we use a lot, but allow us some grace. Allow that person grace. You have no idea why she hasn't put out her video today. She has a 2-year-old. Well, maybe the 2-year-old, we are so quick to judge, and we have to understand that people are going through a lot of different storms, so to speak, and everybody's storm is different, and nobody's is better or worse than anybody else's. It's just there, and let's just be accepting of one another and be present. Be present over perfect. I love that.
I love that this pandemic has given us the opportunity to have these types of conversations with one another and to get to know each other on a different level, and talk about how we're experiencing things in a different way. And I do think that, Nikki, everything that you said, you've talked about choice a lot. It's your choice to keep up the Christmas tree. And if Ben and Mitch have taught me anything through their classes, it's that what other people think is their business. It's not mine. And I've had to deal with that a lot with the 6 kids that I have in my house. You know, people think different things about the choices that I've made in this pandemic. But modeling to the kids, to your husband, and to everybody else and who we're talking to right now, modeling that we do have choices. And my phone's ringing right now. Hang on. I think is really important. One of the things that I wrote down immediately today was that the energy that we give off and that we model to our kids and to those around us is super important. And so I've had a lot of conversations with my kids about that. The silver linings in this pandemic are everywhere if we choose to look at them. Today, as I was cooking, it was complete chaos in my kitchen, but my son came down and he sat and had a bowl of cereal and talked to me for 15 to 20 minutes. That wouldn't have happened before this pandemic. So modeling that stillness and the silence and everything, and the opportunity to have conversations with people like you about this, I think is definitely a good thing that's coming out of all of it. So,
well, I will, having your videos and your Mindworx minutes, I look forward to those every week because they are inspiring and they do help me and give me grace. And so those are huge. You guys need to know that they do have an impact. So thank you.
Well, thank you for pointing that out and watching and all those sort of things. I mean, this is really the point of what we're doing. I think, again, this isn't monetary. This is all about mental health. This is all about helping all of us get better and be in a different spot. And the beauty of it is, and again, the word choice. You have a choice in everything and how you live your life. And Nikki, I always love you because you live kind of, I call it on your sleeve, right? Like if you're feeling bad or something frustrates you, like it's there, you can see it. But at the same time, now I see you taking new steps and new strategies to go, no, that's not one that's not anything I have to like own today. You know, it's so, but I think that's true of all of us. We all have tremendously difficult lives, tremendously unique circumstances. And if you can't be resilient to some of that, then you find yourself in a really bad place. And so that's what we're shooting for, is giving the tools to get better at that.
When we create our own stress, right? So it doesn't matter that I don't have kids, I have a cat. I don't have to deal with some of the problems that you have to deal with, but I have other things that I could focus on that are negative that could create that stress. But again, when you are aware of your thinking, you can think about the situation very, very differently. I am alone, so I don't have kids that I have to worry about. But you know what? It can be very lonely at times. And if I choose to dwell on that, about how I'm so alone and I'm not seeing anybody, and the list goes on, then all of a sudden I'm stuck in an energy of sadness, and I don't want to be there. I can focus on those silver linings. I get to watch whatever I want to watch on TV. I don't have to argue with anybody about what I want to watch on TV. My house is a little dirty right now, but nobody cares but me. So, again, there are the positives. It's about how you want to think about it. And if you're in a negative place, if you're feeling that you are in a negative place, we always talk about Star Wars. Search your feelings, Luke. Search your feelings. Because the way you feel originates with a thought. When you understand that you have the power to choose your thinking, you can think any dark situation. You can find the silver lining, and that's the power of the 3 principles.
All right, guys, we're kind of at that 5-minute mark where we're going to be wrapping some stuff up to keep our time where we need to be. But I just want to say thanks again, Nikki, for taking a risk with us. I hope that you've told all your family about this, that you're going to be on here. So.
Well, I do. I think I was nervous, but I was excited, and I just really appreciate, and I love what you guys are doing. I really, really do.
Awesome.
Thanks, Nikki. Thank you.
And I love your Christmas tree.
We love.
I do too.
That's awesome. You brought a prop today. Thank you.
I did.
So we'll probably wrap up here today, and like I said, this will be coming out. We're going to put content out every Wednesday. Our goal is to have it up by 5 o'clock. Look for those 1 minute or the Mindworx minutes coming out. We're going to try to separate those out a little bit. We've been sending them out on the same day, so hopefully we'll spread those out for people. Remember the website, www.mindworks4me, the number 4.com, and also check us out on Facebook. Like I said, there's a lot of content that people are putting up there. Those memes, quotes like Nikki just shared with us today. There's a lot of stuff out there. So any final words as we wrap up here from Sid Banks?
Well, yeah, I want to be clear. This is not ours. I mean, this was taught to us, and we were just so taken by it. We want to share it. It was given to us. We want to give it to others. This is a book you might want to check out. It's called The Missing Link. And the guy who came up with this philosophy, Sid Banks, and the 3 principles, these are his words. I'm not going to read anything in it today, but, check it out. Check out the 3 principles. Look it up online, whether you look at our site or another site, whatever it is. The more you understand, you really can use this to change your life and live in a very, very good, positive space.
Okay, you guys, I think that's going to do it for us in this episode. But again, thanks, Nikki, for coming. Ben, Melissa, you're beautiful as always.
Thank you.
We will see you all next week again. So again, Nikki, have a great one, and thanks.
All right.
You bet.
Thanks, you guys.